Hello internet, as you can see it's another August wrap up, this time for the subject of divination. So for divination I of course got my O, so here are the 3 prompts for acceptable. It was a book that was set in the future, and here I read they both die at the end. I feel like this technically counts as set in the future because it takes place in a time where we all of a sudden have the technology that predicts people's deaths and can call you ahead of time so you can prepare for the time you're gonna die. That sounds like the future to me. So they both die. It follows 2 boys who both get a call from this company called Deathcast, which basically warns you 24 hours in advance to your death that you are going to die that day, and gives you time to like write your will, prepare, say goodbye to your family, do your last hurrahs, all of that. So these 2 boys both end up joining like this app that's called like The Last Friend or something, and they become each other's last best friends, and they hang out for the full day, and a bunch of shenanigans happens, and they talk about their feelings about dying and their history and stuff, and then they fall in love in a day because like you're dying, so all of this is gonna happen really in one day because you only got 24 hours to live and you're gonna make all those hours count. I really love this book. This book was so great. I did not think I was going to enjoy Adam Silvera, not because I did not think he was a good author, but because I tend not to want to read books that I am pretty sure are going to make me cry. And every time I look at all the synopsises for Adam Silvera's books, I'm like, that sounds like a book you're supposed to cry with. And I don't know, like that's just not something I enjoy. I like when books like make me emotional and stuff, and like that is a lot of fun in the part of reading, is being emotional, but I don't go into books intending to be sad most of the book. This one did have its sad points. If you cry very easily, you might cry during this book. I don't think it is a crying book, but like I probably had a few tears, but I cry when somebody says something really passionate in the book because I get so overcome with feelings and emotions. So like, who am I to talk? Anyway, this book, these 2 boys fell in love. It's really cute, it's really fun. It's fun for a book about death. I really liked it, okay? And I know a lot of people have like have said something about how it ends, how like they both finally die. Personally, I really loved how they died. I thought it was perfect. I thought it showed the whole message of the story, and it was great, and I loved it, and I loved every moment of it. And I liked how, despite them falling in love in 24 hours, it was very believable because it didn't happen the first instant they met. It slowly happened over time as they shared all these very, very intimate moments, because what makes you fall in love with a person and starts really caring for a person is having these deep, in-depth conversations, having these intimate moments, going out and doing these things that kind of push you out of your comfort level with somebody else. And they had to do all of that in a 24-hour span. So like they did all the stuff that naturally you do with somebody that you love, or you do with somebody and you end up falling in love with that person. So it felt like a natural response for this to happen. And I really believe their relationship, it really made me sad by the end of the book. I was just like a lot of tears that, which, you know, it's to be expected when you know you're going into a book that's going to be a love story about 2 people who are going to die at the end. Like, it's called They Both Die at the End. You know what you're getting into. Anyway, I really liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was good commentary on like death and how people react and all of that sort of stuff. I liked it. I thought it was a good book. And would I like to know the day I die that I was going to die? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not scared of death, so I think I would take it in stride. I'm not quite sure what I would do, like if somebody had called me and was like, oh, you're gonna die today. I might just spend the whole day reading, but then like I'd feel like I'm wasting my life if I spend my last day reading, so I might try to go out some places. I don't know. I have no idea. I think it would be interesting, like if that was a thing. So like if that ever does become a thing in the future, I'm totally willing to accept that. I get anxious at the thought that I only have 1 day left, and how am I going to use it, because I don't want to feel like I'm wasting it, but I also don't want to go out and do a bunch of shit that I might not enjoy. So Like, what am I supposed to do there? The second book, which was for Exceeds Expectations, was to read a book that had at least 200 pages in it or more. For this, I read Percy Jackson Volume 1, The Lightning Thief. Again, I've been wanting to read all of Rick Riordan books, so I had to reread the Percy Jackson series so that I could move forward and eventually catch up to whatever he is writing today. Percy Jackson was a huge favorite of mine when I was a kid. I still love him. He's probably one of the reasons why I'm a sarcastic asshole, along with things like Harry Potter and Drake and Josh and like all of those fun shows that really just taught us to be sarcastic assholes all the time. Percy was definitely one of them, and I like love remembering why I love this story so much and why I loved it. Like Percy's comments, I like how he's sort of the underdog while also really being a Mary Sue of a character. Like, you know everything's gonna end up working out right for Percy, but he's still kind of written like he's supposed to be the underdog, even though you know he can't really lose, and I absolutely love that. And I love everything about it. I like it. I've always been a huge fan of learning about mythology, so of course this was fun. I still love it. Still thought it was a great book. Still would highly recommend them. And then the last prompt, so that you could get your O in Divination, was to read a book that was about mythology, so mythological retelling, anything that had to do with mythology. And funny enough, so in the first book of Percy Jackson, Lightning Thief, that is when Percy first is introduced to the Minotaur, and he fights the Minotaur in some of the opening scenes of the book. Like, I think around chapter 3, he's fighting a Minotaur. And so the last book that I read to get the O in this subject was about the Minotaur. It was a book called Bull. I think it's by David Eliot. It is written in poetic form, sort of like an epic poem, and it is the retelling of the creation of the Minotaur and everything that sort of goes down with the whole Minotaur tale. And we get the perspectives of Poseidon, the perspectives of the king, the perspective of the Minotaur, Asteron, the perspective of the princess, all of these people. And it was really nice, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It's a really sad story because, like, you're taught to care about the Minotaur and the Minotaur as a person rather than the Minotaur as a monster. So when you're going on and you're seeing how all these people are screwing this poor boy over, you're pissed. I was pissed. I was like, why are all of you such trash? Just let this boy live. Like, you don't want him around you. Like, set him free in the wild. Like, leave him alone. Like, all this poor Minotaur wanted to do was read his books and look at the sky. Like, leave him be. He ain't bothering none of you. None of you. None of you. Anyway, otherwise, it was pretty great. Theseus is a dick. Poseidon was a dick. Humans are a dick. The Minotaur deserved better. And yeah, that's what I read. So I got my divinations. Oh, I think this was one of the first NEWTs that I completed. So, which is really funny because, like, I think divination, like, if I actually went to Hogwarts, would probably be my worst subject. Because, like, I can't predict shit. Like, and like, I'm not as bad as Hermione or McGonagall when it comes to, like, stuff involving crystals and divinations and seeing the stars. But I don't have a lot of patience. And I'm super lazy. And I feel like it wouldn't be for me. So I think if I took divinations, I would be a Ron. Like, I would definitely Ron my way through that whole class. So it's really surprising I got an O in divinations. But, like, if I actually took divinations, definitely, like, a P. Or maybe even a T. Like, I would not be doing well at all. So, comment down below about a good book that kind of made you see a different perspective on a character that was always seen as a villain before. Like, reading Bull, I was like, wow, the Minotaur is not evil at all. He's just a poor, broken soul. And people need to feel like people need to apologize and treat him better. And that's the first time I've ever thought that. So, a book that kind of showed you a new perspective on something that you never really thought to think about before. So tell me down below if you have a book that pops into your head that reminds you that not everything is always as straightforward as you would like to think it is. So, if you like what you see here, you want to see some more, click all those buttons down below, and goodbye, Internet.